The Deathmatch Arena may be over, but the Wastelands are far from quiet. Deathmatch Arena winner Sarge never used the ticket to Mars that he won as his prize. Instead, he used it as a bounty, the price on Flossie-Bou's head. Flossie-Bou is on the run, trying to make it back to the safety of the Black Widow's home territory. She has just one last stretch of open road before she makes it back to the protection and relative safety of her family. And she's pursued. She's pursued by Sarge and also by Stoat. Additionally, bounty hunter Bonnie Bubonic joins the chase in the hope of taking down Flossie-Bou and claiming that coveted ticket to Mars, the bounty on Flossie's head. Wastelands Raceway's cameras are on scene to catch the final stages of this pursuit. We start with Flossie. She rolls a shift, a slide and a hazard. She changes up one gear and gains a hazard. The reason for this is because she starts, finishes and completes all of her movement on a road. She gains an additional shift and also a shift for the manoeuvre. Medium straight for Bonnie, who rolls a shift, a spin and a hazard. She doesn't want that. She's going to need to take a hazard and re-roll it. Ending with 3 shifts, which allows a double gear change up to gear 3 at the cost of only 1 hazard. It's Stoat now. It's a medium straight for the performance car, and that manoeuvre is now completed, ending in gear 2. Now we see a very tactical move from Sarge, who is going to ram Stoat. This is because the ram will activate Stoat's performance car ability of Slingshot, which will give Stoat an immediate second activation. Both cards evade, which means neither take any damage, but both do sustain a hazard from the collision. So Stoat's second activation is a medium straight, cutting it very fine past the corner of that building, but making it. But that's an appalling roll. It's got to be re-rolled for a hazard, and that's doable. So with the extra shift from the manoeuvre, that's cancelling out that. A change up with no additional hazards and retaining the spin, which will give an additional hazard. Gear 3, 3 hazards. Gear phase 2. A decent roll from Flossie, which when combined with the extra shift from the road and the extra shift from the manoeuvre means that she completes this, finishing in gear 3 with no hazards. Bonnie completes a medium straight, and the roll means she can change up to gear 4 and end with no hazards. Not a bad move. Not a good roll from Sarge there. He's going to re-roll. 3 shifts, that's much better. He's changing up a gear and he is shedding all of his hazards. Over to the Stoat, attempting a medium straight, clearly trying to make up that gap. 2 shifts, a hazard and a spin, plus the shift from the template means a nice little move has been pulled off. Look at that. Heavy machine gun is 3 attack dice.
Oh,
Now that's 6 damage.
This is a bad start.
As you heard, that's 3 criticals, that's 6 damage, none of which was avoided. That's 6 damage to Flossie-Bou in the first incident of this game. Wow. Gear phase 3. Shift spin for Flossie, plus a shift from the road and a shift from the template. Good position to be in. She completes the medium straight, changes up to 5, keeps the spin, which gives her 1 hazard at the end of the move, but she needs to get the heck out of dodge now with that amount of damage on her. 5th gear, 1 hazard, but 6 damage. Nice move, she drops some napalm. And better late than never, Flossie's brother Ulysses enters the fray in a performance car with a heavy machine gun and a submachine gun for the driver. But is it too little too late? Entering in gear 3, but with a shift slide hazard, that's not a great start. No choice really, it's going to have to be a re-roll. 2 shifts and a slide, better. Using shifts to cancel slides and change up gear, he ends in gear 4 with 1 hazard. He's heading headlong into the action. Won't be long before we see some carnage, I'm sure. It's now the turn of the pursuers to move. Let's see what they can do. Not a great roll from Bonnie. She's already got a hazard from the template. She's now going to need to take a hazard from the re-roll and see what she can do. 2 shifts and a spin. The shifts are being used to get rid of the hazards, and Bonnie's going to keep the spin. Cleverly, that spin now brings guns to bear. Standard machine gun, 2 attack dice, both miss. Will the other pursuers have better luck, I wonder? Gentle turn from Sarge, and his initial roll is rubbish. Shift, spin, slide, that's no good to him. He's got to re-roll, so we'll take a hazard for that. Re-roll, he really needs to change up to keep up with things. Shift, hazard, yep, that's good. Shift cancels the hazard. He's got a shift and another one from the template, which means he can change up, ending in gear 4, 2 hazards. Hard turn from Stoat and a roll of a shift, hazard, spin. Not overly helpful. Stoat's going to re-roll that. Slightly better, the additional shift there allows cancellation of the spin. Those 2 shifts allow a change up to gear 4, but there is also an additional hazard from the template, so ending in 4 hazards in gear 4. Handgun shot with 1 attack dice, which hits. 5 evade dice. Flossie evades, no damage. Gear phase 4. And Flossie has completed a long straight without rolling any dice in gear 5 and has dropped another napalm. Medium straight for Ulysses. The dice roll's not brilliant. Shift, spin, spin. The shift dice cancels 1 spin. The template shift drops a hazard, but that immediately returns for the uncancelled spin. And now it's across to Bonnie Bubonic, who is trying a medium straight, which will bring her into conflict with that napalm, I think. Yep, that nicks the napalm. That means that it's going to be 4 attack dice, which cause 2 damage and, perhaps more worryingly, sets her car on fire. It's now the Stoat's turn again. And it's a Veer, clearly trying to get guns on again. It's a shift, spin. So, there's a hazard from the template, which knock the hazards up to 5, using the shifts to cancel 3 of those hazards, but keeping the spin, gaining an extra hazard. Ends in gear 4 with 3 hazards. Firing, 2 hits, and 2 saves, no damage. Back to Sarge, who has a score to settle. A medium straight and 3 shifts means that Sarge has enough to get himself up to 5th gear. Shots fired. Just 1 critical hit for double damage. 1 damage point evaded, so Flossie takes 1 damage, bringing her up to 7 damage. She's scraping by, but only just. It's now gear phase 5. Another long straight from Flossie-Bou. Once again, she's not rolling any dice because she doesn't need to. But she does drop her last napalm. Now we move over to Sarge. Shift hazard, that's not helpful. It's going to have to be a re-roll of those 2 hazards. Shift, slide, that's better. The first shift can cancel the slide. Second shift will cancel the only hazard. And on he goes. Sadly for Sarge, out of machine gun range. It's now turn 2, gear phase 2. Unfortunately, we missed gear phase 1. Footage was lost. Apologies for that. The main takeaways were that Sarge ploughed through the napalm, sustained damage and set himself on fire, and Ulysses managed to slide along Sarge and use his submachine gun to cause more damage. Sarge is now on 6 damage and is on fire. Over to Flossie-Bou now, who is going to be desperate to get herself off that table edge and get herself to safety. Another long straight, once again, no dice, but it doesn't get her to the edge. Not yet, anyway. Sarge is giving chase. He is not giving up until he has to. And that shift spin could be useful, you know. So he drops 2 hazards, moves forward, spins at the end and gains a hazard back for that spin. And he now has Flossie in his sights, which is what he wanted all along. 2 criticals in there. That's 4 damage. Only 1 evaded. That's 3 hits going on Flossie. That brings her up to 10. That takes her out. A short straight move forward. That takes her off the edge of the world. That takes her into her safe zone. But does she explode? She needs a 1 or 2 to survive.
Yay!
She's got the 2. She has not blown up. Which I guess means in terms of the ongoing story, she might have survived. Stoat is trying to ram Ulysses there. There are still Black Widows to kill. Shift, slide, hazard. Not the best roll in the world. So there's a hazard from the template. The shift dice will cancel the hazard dice. The other shift dice will cancel one of the hazards, and Stoat will take the slide, which will notch up another hazard. But something Stoat didn't see coming was that slide will take them across the crater, which will cause another hazard, which then puts Stoat onto 6 hazards, which causes a wipeout. So now needs to roll 4 or higher to avoid flipping. Rolls a 6, no flip, but there's still a randomly generated spin, which means all the hazards are gone, but also now stuck in gear 1. Bonnie obviously loses interest. There's no bounty to be won now, so there's no need for her to be there. She's just gonna make her way home. Ulysses clearly trying to avenge his sister now. He doesn't need to roll any dice, so he's not going to. Just a gentle turn to bring him right up point blank range behind Sarge. What's going to happen now? Ooh, 4 hits. And 2 evades. That means 2 damage goes through to Sarge, bringing Sarge up to 9. He's got 1 hit point left. It's now Sarge's turn. The first thing we need to do is take off 1 hit point because he's still on fire. And that pushes him to 10. Sarge is gone as well. The short straightforward takes him into the fence post, and that's it. He's out proceedings. There's no one really to threaten Ulysses. That's it, all over. Ulysses will escape to safety, and that is the end of this encounter. Chalk that up as a victory for the Black Widows. Thanks so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed it. And don't forget, there's plenty more where that came from, race fans. Plenty more.